It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Kind of a cloudy, overcast Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee, which, by the way, sounds better than it has been in the last week. So that's good. No snow, most of it melting away. And here appears to be the better news. Looks like the Titans have got themselves a head coach. Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. Looks like they're in the, dot I's, cross T's is where they appear to be right now. So with that in mind, let's go to Murfreesboro, say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
What's up, George?
Are you deep in thought over there?
I was deep thoughts by Jack Handy again.
Is that so?
That's right.
So,
correct.
Any initial thoughts on this hire?
No, I'm just sitting here racking my brain. I mean, obviously he's from a football background. His dad was an offensive coordinator and an O-line coach and a head coach in the National Football League. So he's been around the game. He's been through some really good success in Cincinnati the last couple of years. He's had a really good quarterback and he's had a good supporting cast. So it'll just be interesting to see. I know that we got some guys on that are going to talk about it, but it'll be interesting to see if he brings any of the coaching staff with him to try to elevate some of those guys. And then, some of the free agents, will he go after those guys? So that'll be interesting to see.
We will go to Cincinnati at 3 o'clock and talk with Jay Morrison, who covers the Bengals, one of their beat writers, to get a little bit more on Brian Callahan. Billy, it appears for all the world like this whole thing was about modernizing the Titans, getting them out of the dark ages offensively, and trying to upgrade and make sure that Will Levis can be the best he can be.
Yeah, he was their top target, which I think is interesting that they got their guy that they wanted. A couple reports out there, Kelly, that his dad Bill will join him on staff. So I think that's noteworthy. One of the better, at least I've heard, O-line coaches. Bill Callahan was actually a head coach
at
for
Nebraska.
The Raiders. Well, for the Raiders too.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting to see the guys who he brings. That's just as important as him coming over. But with the Bengals, he's there for 5 years. He led that offense with Joe Burrow to a Super Bowl. What stands out to me, what stands out to me is, the Bengals were similar spot as the Titans. They had a young quarterback. Levis not as, proven. I mean, Joe Burrow really wasn't as proven as a lot of people thought he might have been after that first year, but they draft Jamar Chase. They got T. Higgins and some other weapons. All of a sudden, they're in the Super Bowl. So I think the Titans like that. Top 10, I think, in most statistical categories offensively last season, even though they didn't make the playoffs. And so I like it. I mean, this is always a risk. Anytime you bring in an offensive coordinator that has never been a head coach, but his experience as an offensive coordinator, I think makes this a pretty intriguing hire, to be honest. And now with we knew they probably weren't going defense. I think we could all agree on that. The fact that it is somewhat official, it kind of says, okay, this is the direction the Titans are going. They, and Brian Callahan is a pass-first guy. When's the last time the Titans were a pass-first offense? It's been a while. I mean, you had
the answer is never.
Never. So this is going to be a change. It's going to take some adjusting, for everybody because they've never done it.
I think it's also reassuring to Amy Adams Strunk. I think it's reassuring to Rand Carthon that his dad was a coach. His dad's been in the NFL for so long, and if he's going to have him on his staff, that's somebody that he can rely on. That's somebody that's been in the NFL. He's been in the NFL for a long, long time, and he's a really, really good O-line coach. So I think that's reassuring to the top brass that they've got their guy that they wanted, but they've also got a guy with former head coach that's his dad that can help spur him on and lead him in the right direction. I think that was a big key too.
So I'm going to go in a direction that's different than a lot of people. And by the way, I think a lot of you don't like the direction that I take this when I go this way. Titans are headed to a new stadium. And to be perfectly honest, it's been a very soft fan base in recent years. Some of it is the team has sucked. We know that. Some of it, I think, has been a little too much of the Patriot way. This is Nashville. Relationships matter. I hope this guy brings some personality here. I hope he allows his people to have some personality because, Kelly, I think that's important here.
I do too. I think it's important in any organization, but just like we heard about Baker Mayfield, some of the coaches when he first got into the league said you got to squash that, and he goes out to LA, and Sean McVay says, "I want you to be yourself." I mean, I think that hopefully this guy is that type of dude. And when you get these head coaches now, George, with the way that the kids are and the way the kids are coming out of high school and then they go to college and they're coming out of college with all this transfer point, you've got to understand this group of young men that are coming in with you. And the Patriot way worked for a long time, but I can just see that kind of being phased out, George. It's that kind of stuff doesn't motivate kids anymore. You got to figure out what pulls their trigger and what makes them go. And he's a young guy. Vrabel was a young guy, but this is a young guy. He's an offensive minded guy. And it's going to be interesting to see, man. We all said that after you've been with a head coach that was on the defensive side of the ball and he was a defensive head coach, the next hire is more than likely going to be the other side of the ball. And then I'm sure that was one of the first things they asked, like y'all talked about, who's your defensive coordinator? So I think the page has been turned. I think it's going to be cool. Obviously, he's got a good young quarterback who's not really established yet. We're going to see how that works out, how that plays, and hopefully they fit together.
So, Billy, we got two big ones that are still out there. It looks for all the world like Harbaugh is headed to the Chargers.
Yep.
That's
they're now in striking distance, apparently, of getting a deal done.
Wonder what that means.
He's back in LA today for another meeting. So I would guess we get something. What we got last night after the Titans' second meeting with Callahan, we'll probably get that tonight after Harbaugh's second meeting with the Chargers. Somebody will come out and say this is happening, but it's not. The team hasn't made it official yet.
So all of a sudden it's gotten quiet in the ATL. And, Belichick has met with the Falcons twice. I've assumed all along that until it's not Belichick, assume it is, because Arthur Blank appears to have a crush on him and wants him desperately as kind of a chess piece to legitimize that franchise. Because, Kelly, let's face it, if he goes there, they instantly get on Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. They haven't sniffed any of that for a while.
That's just coming. If he goes to the Atlanta Falcons, and I've said it over and over, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say this, but Arthur Blank is going to give him anything he wants. That dude just wants to win. He wants to get the Falcons out there, and it presents a really good head coaching opportunity for him to kind of end his career. Because if he can get a quarterback that is established, that is a good player, he's got pieces around him. They got a really good defense. They got Bijan Robinson. They've got some young guys on the offensive side of the ball that can play. So he's got pieces around. He has to get a quarterback. And I think that's a huge deal for Arthur Blank of bringing some significance, bringing some respect to the Atlanta Falcons, and I think that does it with Bill Belichick.
So, as for the Titans, I'm assuming, although I can't prove this, that press conference will be tomorrow. I don't know what the delays are, whether it's crossing T's or dotting I's. Is that the way you say it? Or is it getting family into town, that kind of thing? But I would assume all of this is going to go down tomorrow. It certainly got out yesterday. And I guess we're in a different world now where in the past, it used to be you didn't know who it was until they walked in.
Different day and age, George. I mean, my wife said she heard it last night, but you just can't. You never know about social media because you see so many crazy things on social media. So you have to dot your I's and cross your T's and double check on that stuff too before you throw something out there, because some of the things that you see are so outlandish, but you have to check them out. And then some of the things are true. So kind of got to do your own research.
Do the Titans play Cincinnati next year?
I don't think so.
I don't know. It sounded like a rhetorical question, but it would be interesting. Most of the games recently have been here.
They do not.
They do not.
Nope.
Okay.
Actually, I was wrong. They do. Towards it looks like towards the end. I guess the dates aren't out yet.
In Cincinnati?
No, it's actually in Nashville.
Wow. That'll be interesting.
You know, another thing that's going to be significant is T. Higgins is a free agent. And being from Oak Ridge, that'd be interesting to see if Brian Callahan goes after T. Higgins.
Yeah, everybody talks about that. Every Titans fan wants that. But I've heard the Bengals are going to do everything they can to keep him because they like him. I guess he was banged up a little bit this year, but late in the season, he came on as their top target. So I think it's going to be tougher than a lot of Titans fans want to accept. But that would be a hell of a pickup.
That's what I'm saying. Like what? But it might not be about the money. It might be about him getting back home. Close to home. I don't know. Cincinnati's not that far. I don't know. It'll just be interesting.
Yeah, it will. But we were talking before we got on here. If you're T. Higgins, what's more appealing to you right now? Playing with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati and Chase and Taylor, or coming to Nashville playing with Will Levis and D-Hop?
No, and that's a good point.
That's a really good point. Depends on what he wants.
That's going to be the challenge for the Titans going forward. In free agency, you're not going to get turned down in the draft by the player you draft. But how can they get the talent they need? That's the next challenge for them.
Well, look, this gets down to, okay, they've got themselves positioned with salary cap. Mm-hmm. They're in great shape there to go out and make some real splash. Of course, you could say the same thing 2 years ago in New England, and it didn't work out. So it's no guaranteed fix, but it gives you an opportunity that a lot of clubs don't have. And then high in the draft, you would assume their first pick would be an offensive lineman. I can't swear to that, but based on that need, holy cow.
Yeah, Carthon's drafted really well, Kelly, and they're in kind of an awkward draft spot at number 7. I think most people think you'll have 3 quarterbacks off the board, at least 2. You got Harrison and Odunze. If Odunze's there, he's going to be tough to pass up. But if Joe Alt is there, the Notre Dame left tackle, I think you got to get him. So Carthon had a great draft year 1. He's going to have another challenge here.
This message brought to you by Catholics for Notre Dame, Nashville region.
George, unacceptable.
I told y'all this before. When you've got a tackle, when you got an offensive lineman, you better get him. And if he's good enough, you better go get him. The Dunze kid's really good, but still, offensive linemen are very hard to come by.
Kelly, did you think that was unacceptable?
I did.
Anytime Notre Dame is uttered out of my mouth, George has to go there.
Wonder why.
I could be talking randomly about him, and you're.
Really, do you have one of those Catholics versus convicts T-shirts?
No, but I've
back
got
in the
family.
day?
I've got family that do.
You do? Sweet.
Really? Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly, you wouldn't imagine the amount of Notre Dame fans in my family. It's crazy.
Gracious, dude. Can't win, dude.
When's the last time they won anything?
Seriously.
You got a point.
And
Okay.
You know,
After
I'm
the
sorry.
break, go ahead, Kelly. You look like you're
No,
dying.
I'm sorry. I just got some people in my family that love Notre Dame too. And I've been hearing for the past 30 years that they're going to win a national championship, and they hadn't even sniffed it.
You tell them.
Good gracious.
After the break, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville, which guarantees it won't be dull. And we got a lot to talk about. If you haven't paid attention, Tennessee and Vanderbilt play Saturday at Memorial Gym. Both teams have a bye on Wednesday, so they both go back into action Saturday. Wonder what Memorial Gym will look like. We'll talk about it next.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Okay, we're back, and we're headed to Knoxville to say hello to our buddy Tony Basilio, longtime sports talk show host in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. I know he's there somewhere. He may be hiding. Hello there.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Good.
That's
How
what they
about you?
allege anyway. They allege that's what I'm doing. I'm actually uploading today's show because I noticed we didn't do that. So thank you for calling me to my studio here. We're going to make good use of this time together.
Excellent. So I'm going to be cynical at the beginning. Well, Tennessee and Vandy have Wednesday off, and so they will be very fresh and ready to go when they play on Saturday night.
Right.
It hit me a week ago, Tony. I went to the Vandy Auburn game, and there were probably 5,000 in the gym and probably 70-30 Auburn. And I would love to have had a penny for Bruce Pearl's thoughts as he looked around that gym and said, wow, is this not different? Because from 2006 to, let's say, 2008, when his team got ranked number 1 in the country after that win against Memphis, that's the best I have seen Memorial Gym since before 2000 was that night. It was electric.
Yeah.
And it ain't anything like that anymore.
George, we were talking about that very thing on my program that I was going to ask you guys, from your perspective, how many Vandy fans will be there when the Vols play? Our fan base is quietly sort of talking about, how many people can we get in there? Because Dalton Knecht is, the other day, I mean, roads here were very terrible. I haven't left just till now. We just left my hill here just now today. So we've been kind of snowed in where I am, but in the area where I live in North Knoxville, it has been very, very just unreal with this weather and how cold it's been. And there was close to 20,000 people at that game the other day, and Dalton Knecht's a huge reason for that. So the question begs now, will Vanderbilt's people keep Tennessee's people out of there on Saturday? Because I think there's going to be a huge crowd. 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock local time game. I think there's going to be a huge crowd. And one thing that I was impressed with, George, is having been at Memorial in the mid-'90s before kind of the Predators, and then being there the other night with you, is just how, I don't know how to say this, but it seems like Vanderbilt's almost invisible there because they're choosing to be. I don't know their way to say that. I don't know what are they trying to do with their basketball program? I mean, at a time where the Preds are putting a pretty competitive team on the ice and everybody's competing for the same dollars. We know that.
So let me try it this way.
Yeah.
You got 13 conference games left. I don't know anybody that follows Vandy's basketball team who thinks they can get at max 4, 0 to 4, somewhere in there. And so when they get to the SEC tournament, they're going to be something like 9-22 at the bottom of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Their net ranking is a complete joke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for all I know, Candace Lee, the athletic director, has already made the decision quietly that, look, at the end of the year, we have to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely possible. I don't know. She really has not been put on the record to any great degree, and that's one of the things that is different now than it used to be, in that the newspaper world is not nearly as strong as it used to be. So you can escape some of these things. But I will also contend that if she goes tone deaf on this and just hopes that it'll go away at the end of the season, it will ultimately lead to her firing, because Vanderbilt people are pissed. There's a lot of people right now in the hinterlands of Vandy basketball who are not particularly supportive of this regime, the Jerry Stackhouse regime, who are basically waiting to see if she'll drop the shoe, and if she doesn't, I think all hell's going to break loose.
George, do they show up Saturday night as kind of a firewall, or if they already washed their hands of this? And one thing that I draw from with my reservoir, having been here for a long time, when Tennessee fans were done with Philip Fulmer, they allowed Alabama to come into their building and take the deal over. And that
which is what I think will happen Saturday.
Really? Because that was kind of the night when the firewall fell. That was kind of the night we all knew. Because they were in there doing whatever their demented chant is, that Yellowhammer thing. I don't relate to that. But whatever that demented chant was that they do, they were and it was, there were 50,000 of them in Tennessee's building. I mean, it was stark how many were there. And Tennessee fans at that point had just said, you know what, we've had enough of this regime and on to something else for us. And that's that, and that's it. And goodbye and see you later, and see you wouldn't want to be in, all those things. And so you think that's going to happen Saturday? You think the Tennessee fans will buy their way into that deal?
Yeah. I think the cheapest ticket right now is $102.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, they've been going for $20, for a lot of games there. And Tony, Vanderbilt people, they can't stand Tennessee, especially when they're good, but when they're bad right now, this is going to be this could be an explosion. George and I talked about these little games here or there where the administration might look and go, okay, it's time for a change. This Saturday could be that.
One of the things that really caught my attention, Tony, over the years, you've got people that you use in basketball season. Our mutual buddy, Mark Griffin, is one of them. One of mine is Ron Bargatze. I would claim that Ron Bargatze has more ties to the former Vandy basketball world than anybody. And by the way, I could make a claim that I could be pretty damn close to number 2, having been in school with some of them, having been their announcer in some of them, having hired one of theirs, Willie Donick. I cover a lot of range. Coach Bargatze last Thursday, you could feel the anger in him as he talked on this show, and it got a lot of attention because Coach B is not some hothead. I mean, he chose his words carefully, but you could tell he's very pissed off in particular about the lack of interaction between that coaching staff and that group of former players, because that's the closest thing Vandy has to the old VFL, Vol for Life.
Yeah.
By the way, what a shot there. Where'd you find that thing, Billy?
These are really cool shots, guys.
That's pretty recent, but I mean, Tony, for reference, that's what this game used to look like.
And that is that picture.
When it was cooking, George, what year would that have been from? Any idea, guys?
Yeah, that's 2008 when they did the whiteout. Tennessee had just beaten Memphis.
Yep, Tuesday night. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Snowed in.
Okay, so on Monday night, Tennessee comes in here for a walkthrough. And I'll never forget, Pearl pulls me aside and he goes, I just heard you were once an announcer at Memphis State. He goes, you didn't work for Calipari, did you? And I said, no. He goes, good. I didn't think so.
That's funny.
Then he went along, whatever they were doing. That picture, go back to it for a second. So awesome, Vandy was ranked, I want to say 22nd, 23rd under Kevin. And they were kind of laying in the weeds, knowing that Tennessee had this huge emotional win at Memphis. Tony, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, look, I'm a big believer that's what this series should be. I mean, when these two teams get together, it should be hostility. It should be, when you come to our gym, it's a hostile deal. When we go to your gym, it should be a hostile deal. I was watching Vandy the other night on television, George, recent home game.
Condolences.
And they weren't showing, and guys, they weren't showing the crowd. I compared it today on the radio to when the spring leagues, when the ball goes up in the air and they don't show the punt, they just show the punt returner. It's like, let's pretend like people are here. I mean, eventually, if they leave Stackhouse there another year, you're going to have to get the cardboard cutouts out from 2020.
From COVID.
I mean, from the COVID time. Yeah. And
Well,
Billy, if we could do that, I'd pay $50 to get you in there. I put the first 150 up.
Well, George already has one, so
we'll let you wear your Notre Dame hat.
Guys, I just can't believe that Vandy would sit there and put up with a coach that just refuses to work. Because that guy obviously can coach. You watch his teams, and as the years have gone along during his tenure, they've gotten better as the year goes along, which is a good sign for a coach. But this guy here, besides dressing well, I mean, he obviously doesn't work at it. And you said that, George, a couple weeks ago. I was citing you on the air saying, I mean, you used the term lazy at one point. I mean, this guy's, He doesn't look like he does anything. I mean, you would think a guy like that would want to compete, get players. What you and I were together that the other night when he made that that remark after that game. Who'd they play? One of the Mississippi schools
at Ole Miss.
He's like, well, they bought their players. I'm like, yeah, and I mean, you're allowed to recruit, Jerry.
Right, this is
you're
a new
allowed
era.
To go recruit, and people will help you. By the way, if you weren't blocking everybody on Twitter and worried about how good you looked on the sidelines, people would really help you, Jerry. But I think that ship sailed for him. So,
well, I'll go back because, in fairness to Candace Lee, she may have already made the decision that, look, at the end of the year, we got to do something, and she's just not out saying it, and which is the way an AD should do it.
Right.
Now, I'm going on the other to say, okay, if she doesn't, ultimately it will lead to her getting fired.
No doubt. Yeah, I believe that.
Because this is there are not many flashpoints in Vanderbilt athletics anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of expectations in football, but there is an expectation from an older guard that remembers those pictures, and they're pissed off. And this is the place, to me, this is the flashpoint where if there's anything left to care about, this is where it will surface.
And I keep thinking in the back of my mind that if Tennessee does what they're going to do to them, Tennessee's playing really well right now. They are
scary.
I mean, they're playing really well. And this Knecht guy is he's like from another planet. We were talking today. One of my callers had a great point. He said, of all the guys that kind of go up levels, this guy so far in the transfer era has been the one that has had the most impact. I was talking to Jerry Palm today on the air, who's a big Purdue guy, and he won't come off Zach Edey. If this guy continues scoring the way he is, he's going to get Player of the Year. He's going to get Player of the Year accolades, and he's going to deserve them because since the league has started, he has been just otherworldly. I mean, he's just been the other night he was off. He had an off night the other night, and he had 28 points.
That's what's scary is, by his standards that we've seen, it was kind of an off night.
Right.
What do the pro people tell you about him?
He's not a lottery pick because he's older, so they're not going to fool with him there. But one of the better franchises in the first round will take him. He will go to a situation where he'll end up with a more complete basketball team that's picking toward the middle to the bottom of the first round. I hope like hell my Sixers get him, because teaming him with Joel Embiid would be unreal.
By the way, if you will go out right now, open the door to your home, the cheering you will hear are points number 71 and 72.
That's unbelievable, George. I watched that last night. I mean,
God.
That Embiid guy right now is doing a thing that some of those great players do when they do this, which is almost impossible to, when you're already great and then you go here. His mid-range game, when he rises to shoot a 15-footer, it looks like a little kid dunking a ball on one of those little like Fisher
Nerf things.
It's just going in. I mean, it's crazy how good he is. But this Knecht guy, I think there's a place for him in the NBA in the right situation. He's 23 years old, so he's not going to be a high pick. In the NBA, they're always looking for that next guy they can grow, which makes sense. But I hear he's a mid first round, late first round guy, and somebody's going to get a good player in him. He'll be able to play at that level. I don't know how much, I don't know how effectively, but he'll be a pretty nice player in the right situation.
Kelly, we've kept you out of the conversation. Tony told me he's
Listen,
y'all
might as well just keep going, man. Y'all always hating on Jerry Stackhouse, man. The guy's well dressed. He looks good.
Like you.
He looks good. I mean, he just thought that when he got the title of the job, that people would flock to him, and that's what he's done. I mean, it's not hard to figure out.
Worked really hard at it. He's
absolutely.
When your alma mater was going to hire our defensive coordinator, that's what I was thinking about. Don't you need a guy that you guys dodged the bullet? I'm telling you, because you need a guy at any of these jobs that wants to recruit. If I was going after Jerry Stackhouse and I'd have looked at him and I'd have thought, there's no way they would have hired him if they'd have known what they were getting as a recruiter. I would prioritize recruiting over anything at these gigs. Wouldn't you guys? Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a sick human being. Every day he recruited. Every day. It didn't matter how much he won. Kirby Smart, same thing. I mean, these people, it's all they do is recruit.
From the grapevine, I heard that the Banks guy had the job until our president got involved in it.
Well, you better be glad. No offense to Banks. He's just not a recruiter.
Once you told me that, I went, gosh. I really did.
Just, look, I'm not for everybody, and I get that because I kind of I just call balls and strikes. What I try to do every day in life, and that's not for everybody. But the truth is, in these college jobs, you better get somebody that wants to recruit. You better get somebody that really wants to recruit, or you don't have a chance. You got to have players in all these sports. You have to have players. Hey, Billy and them, they can make fun of my guy Tony Vitello. I'll tell you something about Tony Vitello. That freaking guy every day is thinking about getting players. Every day.
Billy, you realize if you go to work for Tony Basilio,
I'll get my chance to talk.
Well, you're going to have to deal with Tony V.
I ain't deal with him. He'll kiss his ring. It's more than just dealing with him, George. There's ground these because Billy and those guys on their podcast compared like Tony Vitello to Satan, force of evil in the league. I mean. But who would take that personally,
Well, Vandy, at least Vandy baseball has Tim Corbin still. I mean,
agree.
I couldn't imagine.
That's what the basketball rivalry should be. Look, the football thing in the modern SEC, okay, too many numbers, too much investment. Okay, we all get that. We all understand that. A lot of ground being made up. No reason Vanderbilt basketball shouldn't be in the NCAA tournament 7 out of 10 years. No reason. George, there's enough money down there, right? And I
vote for Tony as president.
Well, it's true, though, right? I mean, there's no reason.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Look, I've got 8 or 9 this year. This league's going to get 8 or 9 teams in the deal.
It only takes 2 or 3 really good ones.
That's it.
Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm just sitting here listening to you guys. I mean, y'all are solving the problems of the world, that's for sure. And we need to solve that shirt that George has got on that he got in 1987 that he's still wearing.
I love George.
I know. I mean, I know you do. I mean, you're a big George guy. You're a big Watson Brown guy. We get it, Tony.
That night that we hung out and broke bread down in Nashville, which led to the storm of the century, by the way.
Yes, it
Less than 36 hours later. His cool factor. And I'm still basking in his glow, man. The way people where we were watching the game, the way people were looking at him like that's George Plaster over there. Kelly, do you realize what a legend this guy is?
And then there was one guy in the corner
I don't care to either. That's the thing about it.
Legend.
And then there was one guy going, how many times he been fired?
Well, the thing about radio is if you've never been fired in our deal, George, that means you suck. You better get fired a couple times.
You want to hear one funny, though?
Yeah.
This has been 3-4 years ago. Jeff Fisher and I went to a Preds game, and we're walking in. It's very close to game time, and I hear a man behind us going, why is Coach Fisher hanging out with him?
That's awesome, man.
Somebody said something to me the other day, and they said, "Are you with George?" And I'm like, "No, I'll never hang out with George. You can rest assured of that, ever."
Wow.
Kelly,
it's
would you
just
do
the
me
way
a
it is.
favor? We just got to, speaking of George, Tennessee got a commitment from this McIntyre kid for the Mid
That's what I
State,
was just about to ask you
whose
that. Yep.
grandfather coached at Vanderbilt. Obviously, you guys all know him. I'd like you to look at his film and see what you see. Could you do me that favor, Kel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about him. I know he's a big kid.
Big kid.
I don't know, but I know this. Like, if you got a young guy,
yeah,
that was a problem. And I'm not trying to beat my chest, but that was a problem that we had way back when I became a starting freshman quarterback as a true freshman. They couldn't recruit anybody because nobody would want to come. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I know you have to have some guys, but like, you got this Nico kid who's coming in. It's all everything. Why would you want to go to UT? I mean, maybe get some experience. I don't know. And maybe he gets hurt. I understand that. But like, he's going to be the guy for 3 or 4 years.
No.
So
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. Okay. All right.
So this
you
kid
think
will
he'll
have
be gone,
a red
huh?
shirt. The way it's going to work is, the plan is, Nico's going to grow and develop, and he'll be, after his junior year, he'll be gone because he sat. So this guy comes in after sitting for a year and is the quarterback in 2026. And you know what? That's what very good programs do, is they solve that position and they recruit around it. And the thought with him is, and again, I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at high school kids. I just don't. And quarterbacks to me are really hard because the thing we can all see is, do you throw a heavy ball? Is your arm strong? We can all kind of see that, right? But then at the end of the day, what does that even mean when you have to do, there's so many other things that come with it. But the thing I hear about him is that he's a real humble kid. He's a real down-to-earth kid. He comes from that football family, so he's pretty grounded. And they feel pretty good about him. We were looking today, which is a real interesting deal. Somebody brought up on the show, which I hadn't really thought about. Since Andy Kelly, Tennessee hasn't had an every day, every down in, down out starter. From the state of Tennessee. That was 30 plus years ago.
Wow.
It would have been Jerry Colquitt in 1994. Of course, he got hurt a few plays into that year. He was going to have a good year. But otherwise, it has been guys from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, here, there, everywhere. And it's just really, to think about that is just really kind of wild. I hadn't thought about it.
McIntyre's a kid Alabama usually snatches.
That's right.
By the way.
That's exactly right.
He comes from a terrific family. His dad, first of all, his uncle, Mike, is the head coach at FIU. His dad, Matt McIntyre, was a wide receiver at Western Kentucky. Man, it's a football family. And I got to meet the George who's coming up there this summer. I told him a little bit about his grandfather. His grandfather was an incredible human being who also happened to be a football coach, a wonderful man. So am I rooting for the kid? Absolutely.
That young guy yesterday at his press conference said something I thought was pretty good for a young guy to conceive of this. He said, look, football is my passion. He said, there are people in this school whose passion is music, art, whatever, and we're all different. He said, it just so happens that my passion has me here right now. That's the only difference between me and anybody else. And that's pretty well put. Really, at the end of the day, it's a humble kid, So I think they feel like they've got one that will attract other people. They feel like he's got a personality where when they're having a big recruiting weekend in the spring, he can drive up, take ownership of it, which is what you want your quarterback doing. So to Kelly's point, he wanted to sit. This kid knows he's going to sit for a year, Kelly, and he's okay with it. He knows what he's walking into.
And Kelly, wouldn't weight room be a big priority because he's kind of a string bean?
Yeah, it's like my son. You got to get in the weight room, man. And that's what college weight rooms do, man. They get you in there and they put weight on you. Unfortunately, it took me a long time, and unfortunately, it's taken my son a long time. But when you get in there and they put you on a nutrition plan, you get to working out, 4 or 5 days a week, and You just stay with the strength coach. They can put weight on you. So, Tony, I'll leave you with this, man. It's not a question, but when you do hire Billy, when you ask Billy about a player, he'll tell you that they project well. So you figure out what that means, because I don't know. He just says they project well.
I said George McIntyre projects well in the Josh Heupel offense, and Kelly goes,
Kelly tore him a new one.
What do you mean by projects well?
What project, is that above your pay grade, Kelly? You know what project means.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I get so sick of all these words, and Billy's talking about it. Billy don't know if the ball's stuffed or stuffed. You know what I'm saying? He don't get it. And he goes, project well.
Last week because I didn't defend Billy in here. Now I'm going to defend Billy. You know what?
You can defend him all you want to. I don't care. But project well, I mean, you got to figure out if a kid will stand in there, look down the barrel of a gun when somebody's unblocked. Can you get your nose busted and get up off the ground and throw another pass? Now, I don't know if that projects well or not.
This kid's got wheels. He's got an arm. He's 6'5". He's teachable. He projects well.
When you were
step off and leave Billy alone.
Hey, time will tell. We'll see if he projects well.
When you were in Nashville, did Billy give you a resume?
He texted me something. I texted Billy a real flowery message about what that night meant, and then I realized I texted it to Billy and not you. So,
okay, Saturday night.
Yes.
After the game's over.
Yes.
How can they hear you?
We'll be living the dream, man. Our Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime program will be on as soon as the thing ends till whenever. And Tennessee doesn't have a game this week, neither does Vanderbilt, quirk of fate. So we get to sit back and watch and enjoy some action this week. It's kind of fun.
If you want commentary, give me a holler.
Oh, hey, man. Be beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Talk to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all.
Oh, he is the best. Man, I'm telling you, love having him on. We had so much fun at the hockey game. It was ridiculous how much fun we had. I know we got to go to the break. Who knows what we're going to do when we come back, but I project that it'll be really good.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you're wondering, that segment was not rehearsed. So, let me ask you this, Billy. You keep up with it really close. Do you buy my belief that this whole Vanderbilt basketball mess is going to be the flashpoint where whatever fan base is left, if he's retained after a year where he's got somewhere between 0 and 4 conference victories, is this where the rubber kind of meets the road?
Yeah, I mean, I told you, we were talking, I think yesterday, Candace Story-Lee, the AD at Vandy, played at Vanderbilt, was a great player. And playing at Vandy, Kelly, when you're at middle, I'm sure y'all had some rivals, right? You in the NFL, right? Everybody, you play your rival. It's all, as Tony said, it should be nasty. It should be ugly. You should maybe get a chirp here or there, maybe not a big fight, but you know what I'm saying. Like it should be, where the fans love it. It's not like that anymore between Vandy and Tennessee. As Tony said, Vandy's almost invisible. And so for Candace, if there's any pride left within that administration, this Saturday night, George, there could be 8,000 Tennessee fans in the building. And if they win by 20 or 30 plus and they're singing Rocky Top all night, I mean, that's got to sting. As bad as the program is and as much apathy as there is around the program, that's got to be the kind of one of the big initial flashpoints for me. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a rivalry.
I just remember growing up, man. I remember Vanderbilt was really good, really good. I mean, I just, basketball. Now, football, we've all talked about that. They've had their problems ever since I was little. I mean, I get that, but basketball, women's basketball, that was the Memorial Gym. I remember going there when I was in high school because that was where the state tournament was, and we made the state tournament, and that's just such an impressive place, man. And to see where it is right now, it's kind of what happened at middle football these last couple of years, man. Nobody goes to the games. There's so much apathy for it. Nobody really cares. Hopefully we can get that back. And I just don't see how you can be that incompetent and not win any games and not get fired, George. I just don't see how it could go.
I personally don't think this can go any farther. And I hope I'm right in the belief that, look, she's just doing what she has to do as an athletic director, which is right now stay quiet, not show your hand. And I want to believe that that's the case, and she already knows at the end of the year we're going to have to make a change. But on the possibility that that's not what happens, I think all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and we talk about apathy all the time. This is a game where Tennessee coverage will be at an all-time high because their fans will be there. They've got Dalton Knecht, they've got a star. Tennessee fans care about this team and this game because they want to beat Vandy. On the Vandy side of things, and in Nashville, there needs to be coverage of this. This has to be, I don't think we've stayed quiet about this. We've talked about this Stackhouse situation a lot. And, I think this needs to be out there and spread the word that this isn't okay. I mean, this isn't acceptable.
Well, I don't know. I go back and forth whether an AD, in this case, Candace Lee, needs to say publicly, hell no, this isn't okay. And I have told Jerry that if there is not rapid improvement in the second half of the SEC, there's likely going to be a change. Or do you just sit back quietly and say absolutely nothing? There's two different styles here. And at least so far, she's chosen to stay quiet. I hope that doesn't mean that she hopes it just disappears and goes away, because I don't think this one's gonna.
No, I don't really see. I don't see the talent there to coach your way out of this. Last year, and I have the picture of it, Kelly. I don't know if you were with us after that, but I think you were actually. Vandy hit this game winner, to beat Tennessee last year, and that started a big 7-game win streak, and that's what kind of turned it around. I don't see something like that happening this season. I don't really see any of that. Now they could get 2, maybe 3 wins, but I don't see another barrage of wins this year. He won co-coach of the year last year.
Yeah.
Because of that.
So let me ask y'all this. So y'all say he's a really good coach, right, George? Don't you think he's a pretty good coach?
From an X's and O's point, I think he knows basketball.
So what is the deal with his recruiting? Like his assistants are, has he got people around him that don't recruit either? Or like the head coach is supposed to be the finisher. Like hey, we're going to go after this guy. We're going to go after that guy. Y'all talk to him. I'm going to be the finisher. Does his assistant coaches not do that either?
Hold on to that, if you will, because I know we're up against a break. It's a great question, and I'll try to answer it later in the 3:00 hour. Okay. We're going to Cincinnati. Jay Morrison is going to join us to talk about what we think is coming, which is the Titans hiring of Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. We'll try to give you a little bit of a who is this guy? What are we getting? Stick around.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. Okay, we're going to shift things around just a tad. Normally, we would do stat of the day right now. However, much more important that we go to Cincinnati. And let me say thank you on the front end, because on short notice, Jay Morrison joins us. He is the Bengals beat writer for the Pro Football Network. Jay, how are you?
Doing great. How are you guys today?
Good, and I mean it. Thank you very much on short notice for kind of answering the bell for us.
Sure.
So give us the lowdown on Brian Callahan.
Well, you know, he's worked with some really good quarterbacks in the past. He kind of got his start in the NFL with the Broncos as a quality control guy and an offensive assistant, and got to kind of, you know, you would think as a coaching staff he's doing the teaching, but he really kind of got to learn from Peyton Manning during that time. Then he goes to Detroit and works with Matt Stafford, goes to, I believe, it was Oakland at the time, and works with Derek Carr. And then Zach Taylor, when he gets a job in Cincinnati, hires him and brings him to Cincinnati, and he's been the offensive coordinator since, working with Joe Burrow very closely. And really, I think the job he did, everyone knew Burrow was going to be a star. The job that Brian Callahan has done with Jake Browning since Burrow went out for the season, Jake Browning had never started a game in his life, 27 years old, just been kind of I don't want to say a journeyman because he hasn't been with a lot of different teams, but he's never really gotten that chance. And he comes in and puts up numbers that nobody's ever put up before in his first four starts, goes 3-1 right off the bat, ends up going 4-3, almost gets him into the playoffs. It's just, Brian Callahan he's a football lifer. His dad, Bill Callahan, has been a head coach. Bill Callahan is still coaching in the league. He's probably the best offensive line coach. It's kind of a two-for-one punch. I can't imagine Cleveland's gonna block the Titans from hiring Bill to work with his son Brian. Brian played quarterback in high school in California, one of the best high schools in the country. Wasn't really a star there, but he still got picked up, went to UCLA, never played at UCLA. So he's kind of been grooming himself to early on to know that coaching was his future. And he's been Zach Taylor's right-hand man here in Cincinnati. They always joke about how they share a brain. They see the offense the exact same way, same philosophies. And even though he didn't call plays here, he had a huge role in coordinating this offense and input on the play calls on Sunday. It's just that Zach had that final voice.
Jay, the part that none of us ever know, and frankly the Titans or any other team hiring never knows, is when you're hiring one of these OC or DC, they're in a room all day drawing up plays, kind of mad scientist kind of stuff. But then you become the head coach and you're dealing with crap like dealing with us and dealing with, a player gets arrested, player does this, player does that. When he makes the transition, just your personal opinion, how do you think he does in a little bit different world?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Number one, like I mentioned before, his dad's done it. So he kind of knows what to expect from that side. And then he and Zach are not just coworkers. They are very good friends. And he knows every single thing that Zach goes through on a day-to-day basis as the head coach. And he helps take some of that off of his plate here and there. So I don't think that's going to be too big for him. And you mentioned dealing with us. You're going to love him. Everybody, all the media in Tennessee is going to love him. This guy, I have never once texted or called him where he didn't get back to me immediately. And what's amazing in Cincinnati, they make their coordinators available all the time. And even if it's not scheduled, you can say, "Hey, can I grab Brian coming off the field?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And when you talk to him, he doesn't just give you the coach speak quick answer. He goes into depth on everything. And it's not like he's talking down to you and trying to explain the nuances of football. He just loves talking ball. I can't count the number of times that I've pulled him aside and asked him, "Hey, just a quick question," and he goes on a 3 or 4 minute, diatribe about whatever the question is. It's not just offensive football. He understands the defensive side of it, everything that goes into it. He's got a really, really sharp mind, and I do not think the big picture element of this is going to be too big for him. Zach Taylor has talked about Brian being ready for this for a while, and now he's finally getting that chance. And I think it's a really good landing spot in Tennessee.
So you know the landscape. I'm sure in the interview process, it went something like this. We've got this young guy, Will Levis. If we hire you, how do you intend to take him to his maximum potential? What do you think his answer was?
Turn on the tape and watch Jake Browning play the last 7 games. I mean, seriously, what better resume builder than what they did with him? And it's not they didn't rip up the offense. They just they leaned on the things that Jake does really well. And you know, Joe Burrow, nobody processes things like he does. And Jake is really smart in that regard too, but he's so good on his feet and making throws on the run. And so they leaned into the bootlegs, and they knew exactly what to do to get the best out of him. And I think that's a big reason why he hit the ground. I don't want to say hit the ground running, because he did struggle a little bit in his first start, but those 3 games after that were terrific. And I think that is a huge selling point to say, look, this is what I did with a guy who had not proven anything in this league. And again, I keep going back to it, but I think that's a heck of a selling point to say, hey, you hire me, you're also going to get the best offensive line coach in the league. And I know Titans fans probably love hearing that, because that is something that really needs an upgrade down there, is that offensive line.
No kidding. Hey, say hello to Kelly Holcomb, who joins us. Kelly, Jay Morrison, have at it.
Jay, how you doing, man? Yeah, I played with Peyton, and Peyton I was the older guy, but Peyton taught me quite a bit too. So I think I heard you say, and I was going to ask you this, but I think Zach Taylor called the plays. Am I correct about that?
Yes, and
so let me ask you this.
So
normally when head coaches call the plays, did Brian run the meetings?
You know, I don't know that. I don't think that is the case. So much of what they did on the headset in the game, like Brian called a lot of those plays. He would say, hey, let's do this, and Zach would say, yeah, that's a good idea. He wasn't the official play caller, but he had a huge impact on that or input with that. And Zach has talked about too, it wasn't just the job he did with Joe Burrow and Jake Browning, that Brian really coordinated he had his hand in every piece of that offense. But as far as running the offensive meeting, I don't know how that worked out. That's a good question, something I never thought to ask.
Yeah, well, I was, and I know and I said this at the beginning of our broadcast, but it's obviously got to be reassuring when you go into like an Amy Adams Strunk and Rand Carthon down here, when you say, I'm bringing my father here, because his father was an O-line coach. He's been a head coach at a college level. He's been a head coach at the pros, been an offensive coordinator, been an O-line coach, but that's got to be reassuring, don't you think?
Oh, I absolutely think it is. And it's the 2-for-1 thing that I mentioned before, and just how well respected Bill Callahan is. And it's not just bringing Bill, but so much of when you take a job like this as a first-time head coach, it's building your staff out. And yeah, Brian's made a lot of connections, but Bill's going to have connections too. And the two of them, I assume, are going to put their heads together and come up with the best pieces. I don't think you're going to see Brian pull a lot of guys off of this Bengals staff to bring with him. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe none. It's just a situation here where I think everybody likes what they have here in Cincinnati, and he may be out on his own to try to find assistance, and I think his dad could really help him in that regard with all the connections he's had over the years.
Yeah, well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Is he going to pluck anybody off the Bengals coaching staff? But I will say this, and I talked about this earlier too. T. Higgins is a free agent, and I'm sure, just like Billy, the guy with us, talked about that the Bengals are going to do everything in their capabilities to bring T. Higgins back. But it may be what T. Higgins wants. Like if he wants to come back home, he's only, he's from Oak Ridge, was not too far from here. So I'm sure Brian Callahan is going to I'm sure he's going to go after him. Now, whether that happens, because he's already playing with Joe Burrow, he's playing with Jamar Chase. They've already been to a Super Bowl. So, do you see T. Higgins or to anybody else that they can pluck, off the Cincinnati Bengals roster that might be interested in coming to the Titans?
I think T would absolutely love to. I mean, like you mentioned, that's where he's from. He also has stated a desire to be a number one receiver. He's always going to be that 1A or 1B to Jamar here. If he goes to Tennessee, he'd obviously be the number one. But the Bengals, I fully expect them to use the franchise tag on him in this year and just kind of run it back for one more years. But we could be talking about this again this time next year where T finally hits free agency. I don't think they would tag him 2 years in a row. The other piece, Jonah Williams, was the left tackle here. He was the first draft pick that Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan had when they came here in 2019. This past offseason, they signed Orlando Brown Jr. in free agency, kind of stunned everybody and forced Jonah to switch to the right side. He was not happy about that, but he soldiered on, had the best year of his career. He's heading into free agency. He has no pretense at all of staying in Cincinnati. He wants to be a left tackle again. I think it would make total sense with the amount of cap space the Titans have, third most in the league, to go get a guy like Jonah Williams that's familiar with Brian, familiar with the scheme, all of that, and really kind of start rebuilding that O-line around him.
Yeah, and this is my last thing. You've kind of alluded to this already, but what do you think makes what do you think makes Brian Callahan going to be successful here for the Titans?
I just his knowledge of the game, his appreciation of how important it is to build culture. That was the thing, and I know everybody talks about it, but what they've created in Cincinnati, it wasn't lip service. They came in and they gutted that locker room pretty quickly, and it wasn't like it was a great locker room to begin with, but they immediately identified the Tyler Boyds, the Sam Hubbards, the Joe Mixons, the guys that they wanted to build around, and some of the other guys that have been here for a long time, Carlos Dunlap and a few of them, pushed them out and said, this is where we're starting at ground zero. And they targeted guys that had been captains on their college teams. And the big thing that they talk about all the time is guys that love football. You can't just love what football gives you, the riches, the fame, and all that. You have to love and embrace the grind. Guys that love watching film and lifting weights and hitting the practice field and doing all that. And he's really, I'm sure, grown a lot in that 5 years of figuring out the best guys to identify to build the kind of culture you want. And it's one of the big reasons this team has been successful and been able to turn things around so quickly from having the number one overall pick in 2020 to being in the Super Bowl in 2021.
I want to go right to that, Jay. Take us back to that time where, you draft Joe Burrow, obviously a tough first year, but year two, drafting Jamar Chase, go to the Super Bowl. I don't know that anybody could have predicted that. This might be a tough question to answer. Is that recreatable somewhere else? I mean, say, for example, Nashville, the Titans, regroup at receiver and maybe they get a big-time receiver. Are the Titans and Bengals in similar situations? Can you compare the two? Or is that more of a situation in Cincinnati where it was just, kind of all the stars aligned?
Yeah, I don't know that it was just, you start with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and you are way ahead of the curve, but people wanted Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator, fired after that first season, and Zach stood by him, and then all of a sudden they have that. It was really the defense that took him to the Super Bowl through that playoff run, not Burrow and Chase, and then all of a sudden he's a head coach candidate. So I guess anywhere, if you get the right pieces in, that it's just the way this league is set up with the draft and the salary cap and all that, where you can turn things around in a hurry. We see it every year. I don't know how many years in a row it's been, but there's been at least one team go last to first in their division for a number of years. And so I do think that it's something that can be turned around quickly. But, the big question will be, is Will Levis the guy? Because you've got to have that quarterback in place to get it all kick-started. And I'm sure, if Brian didn't think he was the guy, I don't know that he would have taken that job. So I do think that it's something that they can fix in a hurry. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of that Titans roster, but I do know that when we talked to Brian Callahan before those two teams played in Week 4, he raved about that Tennessee defense and said it was almost like an AFC North defense, and it's one of the best defenses that they'll face all year. So I know he knows what he's getting on that side of the ball as well.
Brian, Brian, I'm looking at Brian Callahan, and I ought to be looking at Jay. Jay, is Liam Cohen in play here?
I'm not sure how deep that connection goes. I know Zach has a relationship with him, but I don't know that it translates to Brian. I would assume so because, like I said, they see things the same way. They have the same philosophies. They're friends off the field, so I'm sure there's a connection there. I would certainly think that he is a consideration. I don't know. The big question, is Dan Pitcher is probably going to be the offensive coordinator here if he doesn't take a job somewhere else. If he does take a job somewhere else, Brad Cragthorpe is the assistant quarterbacks coach. He would probably move up. That's a guy that I think maybe Brian could pluck away. But it'll be interesting to see. I think we're going to see the same thing we see in Cincinnati, where Brian's going to be head coach and play caller, and he's going to be looking for an offensive mind, someone that's willing to come in and be a coordinator without calling the plays.
Last thing for you, because information getting in and out of cities around NFL rumors and stuff is really interesting. Were you all hearing all along that he was top of the class for the Titans?
No, honestly, I wasn't. I thought Carolina might have been the better bet, where you've got the first round overall pick and they're looking for an offensive guy to come in there and mold Bryce Young. And, maybe Tennessee thought Carolina was on the radar too, which is why they didn't let Brian leave the building without agreeing to it last night. I felt like that would be a good fit for him, but I didn't hear any kind of rumblings about, how attracted they were to Brian, because it doesn't really sound. I mean, I know they did their due diligence and did a bunch of Zooms and followed the Rooney Rule and all that, but it felt like Brian was kind of their guy all along. I don't know that anybody else even had an in-person interview once the virtual stuff got out of the way. So seems like a perfect match. Brian wanted this job for a long time, and it seems like Tennessee identified Brian as their guy, and they made sure they got him.
Thank you for doing this. You're the perfect person to give us some behind-the-scenes stuff, even before the press conference, which I assume will be tomorrow. Jay, thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Jay Morrison covers the Cincinnati Bengals. He is their beat writer for the Pro Football Network. Okay, stat of the day.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville, 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, here we go. We'll see what Matthew's got cooked up today. Oh, no.
The answer, I believe, is George Gervin and David Thompson. Let's go there.
Gosh.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you some stuff. It's just the fourth time in NBA history where multiple players scored 60 on the same night. Okay, so you screwed it up, and Kelly will have reaction to that in a moment. Let me tell you a couple of things. Go back to the answer. This happened on the final day of the regular season of whatever year it was.
1978.
Okay. They were, if I remember correctly, 1-2 in the scoring battle. David Thompson was an absolute high-wire act out of NC State. David Thompson won a national title at NC State in the 70s, which is really saying something because John Wooden was still at UCLA. And when you pull that off with John Wooden at UCLA, you've done something. George Gervin, the Iceman.
The Iceman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Kelly, we did not get the opportunity to ace the question, but clearly I was able to go behind the scenes and give you some added perspective. Therefore, you and I get a chalk mark whether they like it or not.
George, would you have gotten that one anyway?
Hell no.
This was just this was answer and then give me the question. Like, I should have just tried.
Once again, the unprofessionalism of Billy Derrick. That's great. Way to go. But I'm cool with it because we got a check mark. You know what I'm saying?
What happens, though, when Tony Basilio calls Kelly for a job recommendation?
Kelly won't. I won't mark Kelly down as a reference.
Yes, you will, because I'll give you a good reference. You know that. I'm just going to bust your chops, but I'd give you a good reference because you're good at what you do.
Him off. Every player gets one scratch, and you've chosen.
Well, you are good at what you do, but you got to be humble sometimes now, Hoss. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, Hoss,
be humble.
Yeah. After the break, you're going to see a unique video about what Vegas hosting the Super Bowl is going to be like. And then I'm going to answer Kelly's question, which was a damn good one, but we never had time for it. Please do not go away. You will enjoy this. The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Wow, have times changed? Think about it. 15, 20 years ago, you never would have heard a peep about Major League Baseball going to Las Vegas, the NHL moving in there with a team that within 2 or 3 years would win a Stanley Cup, a pro football team called the Raiders moving in there, and now they're going to host this year's Super Bowl. And this is one area where the league used to be very phony and give you that whole, no gambling, we would never go to Vegas. Well, they're headed to Vegas in a football stadium that is beautiful. It's the home of the Raiders. It's the home of UNLV. Vandy played there earlier this year. Allegiant Stadium. And here's a behind-the-scenes look at what's coming.
Brand new Allegiant Stadium in the fabulous Las Vegas. Not many people get to go to the Super Bowl, so I thought, let's take you on an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of the Allegiant Stadium and show off some of its great amenities. And believe me, some of these are money. Las Vegas just recently started getting sports teams, so now we have hockey, WNBA, and of course football. So if 10 years ago you told me we were about to have the Super Bowl, I would have said, where? We're in the middle of the madness now, but let's take a second and rewind from the beginning. Okay guys, so now we're going to be getting the official Allegiant Stadium tour. This is usually the one that you can buy online and anybody can take. We're going to show you the stadium and we're going to start off with the torch. Oh wow, this place is huge.
So originally when we designed the stadium, we weren't quite sure how we were going to do it or how we were going to end it, but obviously it all worked out in the end. Now that roof is not retractable. Originally in the concept, we considered having an open air roof for the stadium, but since you're all from Vegas, you know that during the summer, that is hotter than the surface of the sun, and there's a lot of dark colors in here, so we probably all would have been boiled alive. Now, the field tray is real grass. That was one of the non-negotiables when we were creating the stadium, and it is quite a doozy. So every time we have a concert, that field tray is outside of our stadium. But when we have a Raiders game, we have to bring it in by hand. It has to be escorted by someone. It takes an hour from start to finish in order to accomplish that. It's pretty one of a kind.
Norma, if you join the team, the Raiders are losing every game.
My favorite part of all these food places here is that a lot of them are local. We have this right in Mandalay Bay. Roll and Smoke is right by downtown. A lot of what you'll find here is going to be all over the city. Hey, Lydia, you had its cluck, girl. You had its cluck.
I'll take it.
We're going to the Models Club.
Modelo. Oh, dude, look at The Hangover.
I just love seeing how Vegas has so many movies taking place here.
We have so much pop culture.
All right, so this is our 200 East VIP level. Some of you have clearly already been in here. Well, welcome to the party floor, everyone. The reason we call it the party floor is somehow everyone always ends up here during the game and after the game. And that's because this is mostly where everyone is, hanging out, having fun. Again, I said customer is key.
All right, guys, so we're about to go to a place where we're going to hang out for the game. And I heard there's food. Smell the barbecue, guys. You smell it, right?
I do smell it.
We are in the Credit One Club. This is where you will be for today. You have your own private kiosk right there to shop all of the Raiders merchandise. Everything is all inclusive on both sides today.
Lydia, get your butt over here right now. Get your butt over here right now.
You're freaking kidding me. I was videoing salad. Norma, this is literally your dream.
I'm not living. Can't make me.
Norma's not going to watch a minute of the game.
Oh, they're making sushi. all the pretzels you could have for life. So they have a signature, what did he say?
Black and white margarita.
It's signature, we gotta try it. Yep. So I saw tequila at some point. Yum, 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 yum. That's delicious.
Can't go wrong with a margarita at 11 in the morning.
And it's not just free food, guys. Look at all the unlimited snacks that you get. Oh my God. I'm gonna need one of those. Okay, thanks.
Oh my goodness.
Grab one.
Stop. For sure, gummy bears.
Oh my God, they have Skittles, red vines. Oh my God, I love red vines. All right, Lydia, that's enough. That's enough.
Okay. I have a full bag. I think this is about to be Norma's favorite part.
So this is our Wagyu tortas. It's, of course, Wagyu beef with pickled onion, lime crema, and cilantro.
So they brought us our first piece of food item here. They said it is a Wagyu torta. Torta? So torta is Spanish or Mexican for sandwich. That's fluffy and juicy, guys. It's so good. I need them to send me the recipe ASAP right now. It is so good.
This is a saucy boy. That's some premium meat right there. Okay. Delicious.
So they ended up bringing this over, and Japanese A5 Wagyu with like mushroom ragu. Look how pretty this is. Oh, you guys know anything Wagyu. That's like more fat than meat. I don't even know how to explain it. It's so good. If you guys can get yourself a ticket with the Credit One Bank Club section, please do it. You will not regret it. Lydia has to try the Wagyu.
Okay, you put one whole strip in your mouth, so I'm doing it too. Oh, that's really good. I don't even like mushrooms, but the Wagyu itself was so incredible. I just downed the mushroom sauce.
We got some sushi hand rolls for you guys as well. So it's, tempura, wild mushroom, and then spicy tuna.
We haven't even gone to the buffet yet, and they brought us hand rolls. Looks like they have a mushroom tempura. We're going to try the spicy tuna one. Woo, that's spicy.
Okay, hand it my way. I love hand rolls. I could literally eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is a little spicy. Norma, let me finish this.
So really quick before we get to the buffet, well, no one is out here. We want to go out here and take some pictures.
Oh my God. Crying, screaming, throwing up.
Ooh. Is that the actual players practicing right there? That's so cool. Even if the food's not worth it to you guys, to be down here on the level, being this close, that's awesome. I'd be like, right here. It would go straight. I would not catch that at all. And then up there, yeah, right by the torches where they have like the artists perform. And we got a sneak peek of who is going to perform, but you guys will see it in a little bit. You'll see who's performing. So it's 11:21 right now. The game doesn't start till 1:25, so we still have a little bit of time. We're going to hang out, grab out, have a few margaritas, and take some pictures. So we're leaving the Credit One Club for just a little bit because we're going to go to somewhere even like more amazing than this.
Green Day present the Saviors Tour. Live across.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This place is humongous. Once you're like down here, you're like, whoa.
I'm hyperventilating.
Lydia's having a panic attack over here.
God, I'm hyperventilating. Dad, are you seeing this? Dad, are you seeing this? Oh my God. Jimmy G literally just ran straight up to us. I could have touched him.
It's a good-looking football player right there.
Oh my word. He's considered probably like the best looking football player in the league.
Yeah, so it's really cool to just be able to be right here, and especially right where the Raiders are coming out.
I honestly might become a Raiders fan after this. Honestly.
You should be a Raiders fan.
Oh my word.
And it's so cool because like all the Raiders are like literally coming to our section just saying what's up to their family members, friends, all that. I'm sure for the Super Bowl you have to be like
mega VIP.
You have to have minimum 5 of their kids to be
I mean, I don't even want to know what kind of credentials you'd have to get to be here for the Super Bowl. There's Crosby! There's Crosby!
I've never been this close to football players, but they are humongous. I know I sound like I know nothing, but I had no idea how many players were in one team. Whoa. Honestly, I feel like Allegiant Stadium is going to be the coolest for Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got so much food, so many drinks. I mean, this stadium is, 3 years old?
Yep.
about to pee her pants right now.
These are people I watch on TV every week.
Yeah, it's so cool. They're all coming over and saying hi. Well, not to us, but like to everybody else. So that's so awesome. So these are the seats.
This is the closest I've ever sat. I'm not kidding.
So we're in section 131, row 27.
Do you know how much these seats would cost for the Super Bowl?
$10,000.
No. This is like a $25,000 seat. Minimum. Because even the cheap seats for the Super Bowl are like between $5 to $10 grand. Yeah. So this is, I don't even want to know how much this seat would cost. I'm just going to sit here until February 11th.
She brought the super glue.
You can't get me out of here.
All right, guys, so we are now here at Winfield Club. Now, unfortunately, they are not going to be open for Super Bowl. It is going to be kind of like a buyout. You know, the NFL is going to use it for its own. However, though, if you ever do come for like a regular game or even for like a concert and all, you can actually come and sit out here. It's really cool.
Yeah, so we actually offer multiple options to come down to Winfield Club. If you want to buy just a single event ticket, you can do that through our website, winsocial.com, or we also have VIP bottle service options as well that comes with the table and a food and beverage minimum for the event, whether it's a sporting event or a concert, anything that we have here at Allegiant Stadium.
So it's basically like a club within the football field.
Yes, yeah. So we are an exclusive lounge in the north end zone of Allegiant Stadium. We turn this into a party every night. So when you come in, we'll have a DJ going, bars, food options, everything that you want to have for an event.
So if you guys ever do want to come down here to Winfield Club, and either if you want to get a table, hit him up, but you can also get you a table over at the Wynn nightclub. Yep. So Access Club, yep. He's got you.
Come see me. We'll take care of you.
Saw both ways. Now it's time to finally go and enjoy that buffet. Just one plate. I need like 3. Crab legs. Is there any more? Yeah, there is. 2 potatoes. Charcuterie board. First things first, got me a beer. You gotta have beer for a football game. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. And a shrimp.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna need like 5 bites just to eat one shrimp. We're in a classy establishment, damn it.
Paloma to start. That is strong. Oh my goodness. I was gonna go into the crab with fingers, but then I figured, like Norma said, this is classy. It's so saucy, so buttery, delicious. Norma's looking at me from behind the camera. I'm not sharing. Really quick. I got some spicy crab roll. Don't mind me just sprinkling my wasabi on it. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna eat a lot of those. Life is good.
So we just had Bone Thugs and Harmony perform the halftime. During the Super Bowl, we are going to be having Usher, which is not a surprise because Usher performs so much in Las Vegas. He has so many residencies, and we know he's going to kill it. So yeah, hopefully this helps show you guys what it's like to be in the Allegiant Stadium during Super Bowl for 2024. It's going to be an amazing game.
Energy in here is going to be insane. If it's this insane for a regular season game, the Super
I think we get it.
I think so.
By the way, Allegiant Stadium, for those of you who have been to Vegas, it is not on the Strip. It appears to be the street behind it, which, if memory serves me, is Industrial Boulevard. So as you're going up toward the top, toward Mandalay Bay, it looks like it's behind Mandalay Bay in a big old hole back there. Kelly?
George, you've been there many times, obviously. Industrial Drive, I didn't know that.
Boulevard.
I've been down the Strip before, but not, I don't know it that detailed, Hoss.
You think we can take a little write-off with the company card and maybe make a trip out there?
I think you would only know Industrial Boulevard if you've gotten your butt handed to you.
You're probably right.
Okay, so what was your question?
I don't even remember it now. Oh, I know.
Yes.
It was a recruiting deal. Y'all talk about recruiting, and normally a head coach, he recruits, but it falls on his assistant coaches, and then he comes in and he closes the deal. So
you're talking Tony.
And obviously in basketball, it may be a little different. I don't know that, but what's the problem? That's where I'm coming from. What's the problem? If he doesn't recruit, then that means his assistants aren't recruiting, correct?
It got out. Well, first of all, it got out in the first year that he doesn't particularly enjoy recruiting. I've been told that he told some recruits' parents that, which for me put up a bunch of red flags that said, if you don't like to recruit, why the hell are you in this business?
Yeah, why are you in college? Go to the pros.
As I have watched them, I just don't believe that the kind of effort that is needed in recruiting for a school at this level. I look at their roster, and they got a bunch of mid-major kids. Nothing against those kids, but most of them are mid-major. They've got 2 or 3 guards that can really play and really not much else.
That's what it looks like from looking on the outside in for me. I mean, I of course, I haven't kept up with it like you guys do, but when you're not winning, I mean, it all falls on the coach. And if you're not willing to recruit in college, then why are you in college?
That's been a question I've had for a while. We'll go to the break on that, and then Plaster bet of the day, which needs a W. Big time. Let's do it.
Starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
final segment on a Tuesday. We've got some college hoops tonight. Kentucky is at South Carolina at 6, and then Mizzou and A&M tonight. So we'll see where George is going with Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to their website. That's at bartdurham.com. Last night, Preds couldn't get it done.
No, that's a Florida team that they don't need to play every night. Florida's really good.
Yeah. Their defense, they're physical. They can skate. Preds struggled.
Don't bet with your heart, Kelly.
You've been winning on that one, so why not though?
I know. So here's where we are going tonight. College basketball, and put it up there. Let's see where we might be going. Dun da da da.
Dun dun dun.
There it is.
It's not there yet.
Central Florida minus 7.5 at home against West Virginia. If anybody's been watching, Central Florida is pretty good. West Virginia is not. I rest my case.
No Bob Huggins, no West Virginia.
No, he's, up there with Mountain Mama.
He's outie. He's gone.
So are we. See you tomorrow, Kelly.
See y'all.
Billy, behave until then.
I will.
Get Tony that resume. He needs it.
I'll try.